If you wanted to know the 6 hobbies that you need to implement in your life as a girly, you found the right place. Hobbies are so important, especially as a girl in this age. I feel like a lot of people that you actually meet in real life are starting to lose the art of hobbies. As a 19-year-old, we're basically like in our 20s, we have control of what we want to pursue and what we want to learn. Whereas when you're a child, your parents kind of put you into different hobbies. They definitely want you to pursue various hobbies. However, a lot of other girls, including myself, start off learning a lot of things as a child, but over time lose those hobbies as we get older. And how many times have you asked someone or someone's asked you what your hobbies are and you struggle to think of something other than maybe going on social media, going shopping and eating with friends, or watching TV shows, etc. And clearly I'm a girl, so I will be speaking on my perspective of girl hobbies. So let's get right into it. Of the 6 hobbies I believe every girl should have, and I believe hobbies should be implemented about once a week each, and for others preferably daily, like for the easier hobbies. Number 1, I'm gonna start off with a sport to pursue. So this isn't just like movement like going to the gym or Pilates, but a sport which combines physical exercise with a goal. So basically you're working towards something and possibly competing or even just participating. And I definitely know a lot of girls our age probably can't really relate to this, and it doesn't have to be super professional. It could even just be a social sport where you compete every week or something. But from experience, when I was a child, I used to learn taekwondo and swimming, and I did a bit of tennis at school. But as the years went on, I started to do no sport until I found my passion in ice skating. And a few years ago, I took a break, but now I'm starting to see the importance of a sport, and I'm picking it back up again with hopes of being coached and competing in the future. I try to implement this at least once a week. Number 1, it is so fun, and it incorporates different ways of exercising. In this instance, it incorporates stretching, endurance, artistic movement, along with the athleticism of stamina and cardio. So this is the sport that worked for me, but honestly, there's so many sports out there and you could choose any. And I have already met a few friends from ice skating in Melbourne, where I don't even go that often, but it's a great way to make friends who share a common interest. And the importance of working towards something means that you can have a product to show as a reward of your efforts. It doesn't even have to be a competition thing. It could even be like running a marathon where you just get a medal for participating. It's just something to pursue that helps your physical well-being, gives you a sense of community, and provides you with a bit of an end product. The second hobby I'll say to contrast this physical activity is to have a mental hobby. Basically one where you're learning and intellectually growing. So for example, reading. I personally just read non-fiction books, and this means learning outside of academic institutions like university or school. So basically self-directed studying and learning. And you can learn about any field you want. I also have an interest in investing and trading, so I try to learn about this especially through my books or online research or even social media. But you could pursue any knowledge like psychology, nutrition, computer science, coding, or even beauty, or I don't know what else people study, but you can pursue anything through your own study. Because something I realized as a business student studying banking and finance is that a lot of people I know don't actually study outside of uni. They just study the uni work. For example, they won't learn about investing and trading for themselves. They'll only learn it on the premise of studying for uni. This is why it's important to grow your knowledge by your own means and find out something that you're interested to learn about. Because especially as girls, knowledge is really power. A lot of times we get distracted by just physical attributes like how we look, but really an investment in your knowledge is something that can never be taken away from you. Plus this can be a literal investment, like learning about money, investing, and financial literacy. So it's definitely important to increase your mental value. Of course, not forgetting about yourself physically, but to grow yourself mentally just as much, if not more. And this continuous learning and improvement, you can learn a high income skill and evidently make money from your skills. Which leads me to my next point of hobby number 3 is to have a hobby that can make you money. It can be a side hustle, it could be investing, it could be just pursuing your career. Of course, some of you may not see this as a hobby, but I definitely believe it can be a hobby if it's something that you pursue by yourself, and if it's something you're genuinely interested in that you want to continue. Some other hobbies of side hustles can be freelancing and content creation, like social media, which I am also currently doing. It could also be things just like selling your clothes or dog sitting or babysitting or coaching. So as I mentioned, I'm into investing and building my financial knowledge. So myself, I hold a small amount of investments, but that's something that I actively try to grow. And I joined a university society about investing and trading. I have a director position there. millionaire. That's something I achieved recently that I'm really happy about, and it's something I pursued for myself, and I was the one who chose that position and chose to put myself there without anyone telling me to. It's important to have a money-making hobby because then you can incorporate something fun that you like to do with gaining income, which isn't just a typical part-time job. But with this, I know it's hard to get consistent income, so at least having the vision and intention of making this into a high income skill is an important thing to start. For example, with content creation as I do, I wouldn't say there's a stable income, but it definitely does bring in income when you intend it to, and you always have the power to do that once you've established it. And honestly, I feel like a huge goal is financial freedom, and it seems like the way to do that is to be an entrepreneur, start a business, or something along those lines. So if we as girls can start off that idea early, that is also great and can definitely improve our future life. And it can be built off our hobbies, which is things we are actually passionate about. Because there's so many businesses that have such a fun idea, whether it's like beauty, fashion, fitness, like designing dresses or opening a Pilates studio or opening a dance studio. There's endless opportunities, even for us girls, because we have a unique market that we will love. And as girls, we should be more encouraged to be these business owners and entrepreneurs and live our best life while bringing value to other fellow girls and other humans for them to live their best life too. The fourth hobby to have is a creative hobby. So this is one where you can actually exercise your ideas and turn them into fruition. For example, content creating, as I have mentioned before, or artwork, fashion design, or creative writing. Because honestly, especially as a girl in this age, we are definitely spending a lot of time on social media. Consuming social media is not all good for us because instead of imagining and creating with our own minds, we're being fed distractions, just seeing what other people have done. This can lead to a lot of comparison, and then you feel like your own ideas aren't worth much, and a lot of times creativity isn't emphasized to be exercised. I believe it's so important to continuously think of ideas outside of what we see, and personally, I love just having time to think about ideas, whatever it is, content ideas, business ideas, or even doing design, or just like drawing, journaling, stuff like that. Another creative hobby is music, especially being an Asian. When I was young, I learned 3 instruments. I learned violin, clarinet, and piano almost simultaneously. Now I do not practice any instrument, but to the people that are still continuing instruments or want to pick it up, I definitely applaud that. It's like learning a whole new language and also being able to express yourself. Personally, I'm a bit interested in like music production, and that's something I have self-learned a little bit, so that's just some more ideas of creative hobbies for you guys. Because in a lot of times, in lieu of social media, we feel like there's not much to do. But honestly, children have nailed the art of hobbies because they love to draw, they love to be creative and imaginative. So honestly, we should learn from them and live like them, live with joy from a child's perspective, and bring all the creative ideas we have into physical fruition. And the 5th hobby I have for all girls to implement is definitely a physical hobby. And this is different to a sport to pursue because physical hobbies typically don't really have like an end goal or like competitiveness. So this could just be like going to yoga, going to Pilates, going on a hot girl walk, or going on a run around, because these are easy to implement. There's low barrier to access. You can just sign up instead of having to go through organization, signing up to competitions, etc. This is definitely easier to implement, and if you guys aren't already, that is something to get onto because physical exercise is so important, even if it's just movement, because a lot of our lifestyles now is pretty sedentary, like just working or studying, sitting at a desk. So it's important to go outside and do like an exercise that isn't too hard, is calming and benefits your body. And I did say I like to ice skate like once a week, but I like to incorporate stretching, walking around a lot, going gym sometimes, multiple times in a week. And another hobby that I like to do is occasionally dancing. I go about 2 times a month, but I don't go super regularly. I just go when I feel like going, when there's a song I like. This is something that I picked up recently. You get to like dance the songs you like in a really pretty studio, and it's exercise, so it's good for your body, but it's so fun. And doing physical activity really makes you feel self-confident and disciplined, no matter how your body looks, because you start to feel emphasis in what you can physically do, like your skills, over the way that your body looks. I know, especially as girls, there is so much emphasis on like being slim and toned, all these different beauty standards, but it's honestly less about how your body looks like and more about what your body can do for you, because that is the sole purpose of it. And for example, if you keep putting focus on just the looks and aesthetics, when you do lose that look, if you like fall off, you might feel even worse about yourself and feel like you lose way more confidence. So that's why I definitely believe to put emphasis emphasis in the physical skills you can do and continuously improve that in a way that is enjoyable. The last hobby that every girl needs is a spiritual hobby. This doesn't have to be too deep. If you're religious, then definitely it's something within your religion. For example, like reading the Bible or like praying, etc. I like to focus more on like holistic spirituality and just being present and living your best life currently. So some spiritual hobbies, definitely meditation. I like to meditate in the mornings when I want to set intention for the day, like when I want to feel energized, when I want to feel confident. I did this like 2 or 3 times in the last week, and it just like helps you clarify your energy for the day, and it gives you time off your electronics and actually in silence, well, apart from the guided meditation, but like to actually feel all your emotions and just be present. Another spiritual hobby is of course journaling, but not just any kind of journaling. Doing future planning, manifestations, doing shadow work, figuring more about yourself by journaling it down. Also spending time in nature, learning more about the law of attraction and manifestation. This is all to align yourself more with your highest version and becoming your best self, finding your purpose, figuring more about yourself for the present, more about your past, and more about what you want in the future. This is why spirituality is so important. It directs the trajectory of your life the way you want it to be. I've definitely been a pretty spiritual person since I learned about it when I was around 15. I definitely implement journaling, meditation, law of attraction, manifestation into my life, and I firmly believe in this. I've made a few videos about it already, and it is a pretty like girly thing. I do know like guys also know about it, but especially like girls, it is like all the rage of, you know, like Delulu is the Salulu and like actually manifesting your dream life. It definitely has truth to it, and it definitely should be implemented into your life. So these are the 6 hobbies that I believe every girl should have in her life to strengthen her body, feed her soul, build her future, and for her to live her best, happiest, healthy life. The importance is having fun, loving the progress and the experience while building the foundations of success for yourself. The 6 hobbies were a sport to pursue, continuously learning mentally, having a money-making hobby, having a creative hobby, a physical hobby, and a spiritual hobby. I hope all of you learned something from this and now have ideas for what you want to pursue and learn, one hobby for each category. Let me know in the comments what kind of hobbies you want to start or that you already do. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. Keep up with me on Instagram, and please like and subscribe for more content regarding self-improvement, discussions, and also vlogs about university and my daily life, living independently, and also figure skating. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!